So something I didn't get to cover yesterday, and I feel like I'm making up for lost time because, dear Lord, we have to cover it. Because it was just I touched on it in the morning, and then we just never got around to it. Oh boy, it's this chart. Can I just show you right out of the gate? It's this thing right here. This is remember yesterday. Apparently, James Comer has gotten my notes, and they put at least Northern International Capital in this, which is the company that invested, which instead of CEFC, in the buying of the natural gas firm in Louisiana the deal that never went through, right? And he got a percentage as a lawyer. That's Owasco. This is the partnership they formed. The Chinese would not form a U.S. subsidiary. That's why the whole deal fell apart. But in the process, he gave $150K to Lion Hall Group, which was going to be partner in this, because that's what James and Hunter were trying to do, where they were going to arrange this, purchase this natural gas processing plant in Louisiana, and then, again, fell apart. They paid themselves some money, and then they paid, Sarah Biden paid back Joe for some money that they had borrowed. So that's the whole thing. But it's a fabulous chart. Honest to God, I mean, the amount of work that went into this. I'm a little sad that they used the same Hunter picture twice, considering all the pictures that they have. Seriously, why not just cut out the picture of his head smoking in the tub? It's the most famous picture. Yeah. And yes, who gives a crap is the proper response, chat room. And by the way, hello, chat room. Welcome to the show. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. I am Hal Sparks, the Democratic establishment. I am the deep state. Don't you forget about it. And
I'm dead sexy.
That's right. Everybody, whenever you hear about the establishment, the deep state, they're talking about me. That's me. I do all that shit. All right. So, but hello. Hi, everybody. Come on quick, Bob, on the TV. That's right. Say hi, everybody. Let them know where you are, but not too specific, because we don't want to dox yourself. There's a lot of crazies out there in the interwebs. Okay, so let's jump into this, because this is Comer's video about this shit, and I need to see it, and so do you. It's 3 minutes long. It's relatively painless, we think. I have been looking forward to this for 24 hours. Not in a row, obviously. But here you go. This is it.
Remember when Joe Biden told the American people?
Come on back down here. Let me tell you a story. Remember when Joe Biden... What?
Remember when Joe Biden told the American people that his son didn't make any money in China?
My son has not made money in terms of this thing about... what are you talking about? China.
Well,
yeah, the $1.5 billion.
Not only did he lie about his son Hunter making money in China, but it also turns out that $40,000 in laundered China money.
China money. Fuck, man. China money. That is, if you could find a more like mid-70s Kentucky way of making something that doesn't unnecessarily racist. China money, that'd be one of the ways to do it. China money.
China. But it also turns out that $40,000 in laundered China money
laundered China money
landed in Joe Biden's bank account in the form of a personal check.
$40,000. Now, it's not as direct as big China flag to China Joe. Look at that. Cha-bing. It's a little more complicated than that. This is the truncated version.
And the Oversight Committee has it. Here's how Joe Biden benefited from his family's shady deal with CEFC, a Chinese Communist Party-linked company. It all began with a...
Hold on one second. I know I shouldn't go sideways this quickly. There's a little thing about the money that Trump got. He got $5 million from the China business hot because he was getting $5 million and he's taking it home. So Joe Biden, $40,000 from his sister-in-law as a loan repayment. Trump, $5 million directly to Donald Trump. But can I? And he got $5 million, not 40 fucking K, and we don't know what you're saying, but you say it anyway. Oh boy.
Shakedown in the summer of 2017.
A shakedown. Shakedown, breakdown, everybody wants to be all right.
Party-linked company. It all began with a shakedown in the summer of 2017.
Why does that date stand? Why does that date, what happened in that year? There was somebody left and somebody came in. Somebody who came in shut down the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and then got paid $15 million by the Chinese, basically overnight. That happened in 2017. I think that's why it sticks out. I don't know. It was because, Joe Biden's a retired government official at that point.
When Hunter Biden sent a message to his CEFC associate demanding a $10 million capital payment.
Which never happened, apparently. So, and also, how do you demand shit from people that are blackmailing you? I'm drinking out of a light bulb. How?
As Hunter Biden extorted this associate.
All right. If they're extorting the Chinese, you extort people to get them to do what you want. You don't extort them to blackmail you. This is the dumbest. All right.
Hunter claimed he was sitting with his father.
Right, claimed. That's at least you're honorable enough to mention that he claimed that, whether it was true or not.
And
also, bullshit WhatsApp message.
That the Biden network would turn on his associate if he didn't pony up the money.
The Biden network. Okay.
The extortion scheme worked.
Well, I guess then that's all the proof you need to know that the Chinese were not blackmailing the Bidens then, I guess. Because no one extorts their blackmailer. What the living fuck are you talking about? Seriously. I don't, honestly. This is fucking, yes, this is painful. How does it not, like, that little detail not snap into your fucking head?
Days later, $5 million flowed.
5 million, hold on.
And that the Biden network would turn on it. $10 million. Hunter Biden sent a message to his CEFC associate demanding a $10 million capital payment.
10. Okay, 10 million. He demands $10 million. And then
Hunter Biden extorted this associate. Hunter claimed he was sitting with his father and that the Biden network would turn on his associate.
Yeah, they were going to, if you don't give me the $10 million, I'm going to flood your inbox with dick pics that you can later use to blackmail me, but I kind of won't give a fuck.
If he didn't pony up the money. The extortion scheme worked. Days later, $5 million.
Well, it half worked, I guess. When and why did China give Trump $5 million? Okay, that's above and beyond the $15 million that China gave Trump. The $5 million is a purchase of an apartment by the same dude from CEFC. He bought an apartment in Trump Tower for $5 million. That's why. And there's no sign that I know of that he ever lived in it. They just buy the apartments and they just as a way of funneling money.
Dollars flowed in from a Chinese affiliate of CEFC.
So he demands $10 million from this dude. And at some point later, $5 million comes from someone else. Gotcha. Okay. This is, I'm going to need some wet spaghetti for this chart, honestly, because if we're gonna make, you know what, honestly, macaroni will work just fine. I can use different pieces to make it. All right.
Over the following 3 weeks, Biden family members made a series of complicated financial transactions to hide
They wrote checks to each other with their names on them.
the source of the China money.
The China. All right. Fuck you, dude. At a certain point, that just sounds racist as shit. Stop it. The China money. Because, right now, as a result of this video coming out, there's a bunch of fucking rednecks all over Kentucky and the surrounding area around where my folks live going, China money, China money, China money.
Here's how that happened.
All right, let's do it.
First, Northern International Capital, a Chinese company associated with CEFC,
Because they are Chinese.
wired $5 million to Hudson West 3, a joint venture established by Hunter Biden and a CEFC associate.
Right. They just established it for the sake of receiving $5 million. There was no other business. They didn't, they had no plans for the money. Just hookers and blow. Okay.
Then Hudson West 3.
Yeah. What the $5 million for, but I don't know why 4,600,000 of it stopped at Hudson West.
Sent $400,000 to an entity owned and controlled by Hunter Biden.
Yeah, that's his law firm for legal fees for doing the legal work on the deal that they were proposing.
Next, Hunter Biden wired $150,000 to Lion Hall Group, a company owned by James and Sarah Biden.
Who are, if you didn't notice that little graphic, who are together toast.
$1,000 to Lion Hall Group, a company owned by James and Sarah Biden.
See, that's what's missing here. We need a cha-ching every time somebody pops up like that.
Sarah Biden then withdrew $50,000 in cash.
In cash? Really? She got a bag of cash, did she? She withdrew $50,000 in cash. She didn't wire it to her account. They didn't wire it out to her. They didn't write her a check. $50,000 in cash. So she goes into the bank and she gets a bag of $50,000. How far was the walk from the bank to her car? She must have been sweating, man.
From Lion Hall Group.
This is also in what year? 2017?
Later the same day, she deposited it into her.
Well, I wouldn't wait around with $50K in cash. What is she, Menendez? Kid, come on.
Her and James Biden's personal checking account. A few days later, Sarah Biden cut a check to Joe Biden for $40,000.
Right. Okay. And what did it say in the what? Also, if you're doing a complicated thing to launder money, I'm just gonna say that the complicated attempt to launder the money stops at your personal bank account, because the minute you write a fucking check to someone else, that person is outside the complicated thing. They didn't take Joe's money. This is a great example of how fucking dumb this whole thing is. All right, so the idea is they pay them and they pay this and they're all hiding their money. And then the whole thing is so that they can hide the fact that Joe is involved in masterfully running like a Machiavellian business lord behind all of it, running everything. And so their masterful plan to hide the money that went through them that they give to Joe is just write him a fucking check. They're like, okay, you bounce this through your legal firm, and then we'll bounce it through our LLC, and then we'll put it in our bank account, and then we'll write Joe a check. What? Joe doesn't have a LLC that bounces through the fucking Cayman Islands or some shit? Like, you wrote, that's the big scheme. We'll write you a check. I'll just write something. I'll write loan repayment in the memo thing. That'll cover us. These people are corrupt.
Memo line of the check said loan repayment.
Because apparently it was a loan repayment.
Like the payment to Joe
Like,
from AmeriCorps funds, it's certainly plausible that this payment where James and Sarah used funds from China was indeed a loan payment to Joe.
right. And tell you, and this is the part where you go, so if we ever find out anything, so far we have not found that Hunter Biden and James and Sarah are guilty of anything. This is just how they pay stuff out from deals that they're making. And we have no evidence to prove that it wasn't a loan repayment to Joe. And they did write him a direct check. They didn't bounce it through 20 LLCs to try and hide it from everybody. They just fucking said, here's your money back. Thanks. So you know what? After I'm done going and fucking myself, I'll if we find anything more, I'll get back to you.
But even if this $40,000 check was a loan repayment from James Biden, it still shows how Joe benefited from his family cashing in on his name.
No, it shows how James benefited from cashing in on his brother, because arguably James had to borrow money to stay afloat. He and Sarah had to borrow money, as did Hunter at a certain point when he was living at his dad's house and all that kind of shit. And they owed money to Joe, and they did what they had to do, apparently, to pay him back. He didn't benefit from any of it. And by the way, he wasn't tapping his foot. There are no WhatsApp messages of Joe going, James, if you don't fucking pay me back, you're going to get your ass kicked. He just written it off, it seems.
With money from China, no less.
China money.
Without his family peddling his name and his son threatening a CEFC associate with consequences.
Which you would never do if someone had control over you or was blackmailing you. You fucking moron.
That he said Joe Biden knew about. James wouldn't have had the money to write the $40,000 check.
He didn't. Sarah wrote the check. His wife wrote the check. Joe got another check from his brother for $200K for that loan, but Sarah paid $40 to Joe. So also 2017. So I don't give a fuck.
To his brother Joe. It's also worth remembering that Biden family efforts to secure millions from this Chinese company began when Joe Biden was still vice president.
And were unsuccessful. They went to secure these things, and then it didn't happen, and the deal never went through. It never happened. Please go on about that part. I'm interested. That's piqued my interest.
In taking funds sourced to a CCP linked company.
All Chinese companies are CCP linked, all of them. So explain to me Ivanka's trademarks in China while Trump was president.
That wanted to advance China's interest.
China's interest with China money.
Joe Biden exposed himself to future blackmail and put America's interest.
How do you extort your blackmailer? Honestly, that is the biggest question. Why will no one ask this Okay, Democratic representative staffs, the people who watch my show on occasion. Hi, how are you? Can somebody please forward this question up the fucking chain? And somebody asked this guy, okay, in the WhatsApp message, you're saying he's extorting this guy from CEFC, this China Link company. How do you extort your blackmailer? How does someone have control over you if you can threaten them? This is the kind of dumb shit logic we heard around the Twitter files, where they're like, the FBI was controlling Twitter. Could Twitter ever say no to the FBI? Yes. So sometimes they were in agreement with the FBI and sometimes they weren't? Yes. And they have their own terms of service and they can make their own decisions as a private company, do they? Yes. Then go fuck yourself. I don't get it.
Behind his own desire for money. The House.
Wait, what?
That wanted to advance China's interest. Joe Biden exposed himself to future blackmail and put America's interest behind his own desire for money.
How? How is forcing a Chinese company to set up a U.S. subsidiary that would be regulated under the laws of the SEC, as opposed to a China company in the United States. And when they refuse to do it, shutting the deal down, how does that not advance the U.S.'s interests? Because all the business that Trump does in China is solely in and about China and their interests.
The House Oversight Committee will continue to follow the money and hold President Biden accountable.
For what? For what? Loaning his brother and sister-in-law money and then they pay it back? What? During a time he's not even in government. He's a private citizen at this point. How is he advancing how are the Chinese companies expecting Joe Biden to advance the interests of their company? Let's just play in their sandbox. If not only is he no longer in office, he's so old at that point, and because he refused to run against Hillary, and his son had just passed away, so he's not running for president. He decided not to run for president. The idea is that he's not going to run again. He had to be, like, his family had to push him in that direction. But at that point, he's done. Everybody's like, yeah, Biden's like, even the beginning of the fucking primary, it was like, this isn't going to happen. Everybody except me was telling you that's never going to happen. It had fucking happened. You're welcome. But where the fuck do you get that in 2017, when Donald Trump is president of the United States and Mike Pence is vice president, and they could not have more animosity towards the Obama-Biden presidency, the administration, they're literally killing things just because they got the fucking name on it, not because of its worth, that Biden has leverage fucking anywhere in government. He could call any senator he wants. It's not going to get a bill signed by Donald Trump. Are you out of your fucking mind? What is it? Where is the leverage? And again, this is underneath the umbrella that Hunter is fucking threatening this guy. Apparently, according to these dickheads, threatening people who have what? Pictures of him smoking in a fucking bathtub? I swear to God, this is the dumbest argument I've heard. And I have to believe that the only reason this exists is anything but Eric, anybody but Don Jr. Don't talk about Trump's problems. This is just an elaborate dodge to talk about anything except the facts around Donald Trump's criminality, both in and outside the fucking White House. That's what this is about. This is about trying to, like, you've got gold coins on one side of the scale and lead on the other. And they're just trying to put lead on the other side and go, we got an equal amount of gold here. That's what this is. That's what this is. This is just fucking ridiculous.